I'm gonna.
Corporal Murray for that very energizing and inspirational beginning to this afternoon's proceedings. It certainly captures the mood and posture of the JCF, and for this time-honored event, at which I am honored to acknowledge the presence of our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, the Honorable Horace Chang. And Dr. Chang has been a tower of strength and support for the ongoing transformation of the JCF. Allow me to also acknowledge the Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, ODCD and Chief Justice, the Honorable Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks, the President of the Court of Appeal, Bishop Christine Gooden Benguche, the President of the Jamaica Council of Churches, His Excellency Dr. Lasford Douglas, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Noah Nicholas Perry, the United States Ambassador, Her Excellency Amina Tudakovich, the Canadian High Commissioner, Mr. Oliver Blake, representing the British High Commissioner Judith Slater, His Excellency Yasuhiro Atsumi, the Japanese Ambassador, Senator Peter Bunting, the opposition spokesman on national security, Mrs. Marlene Aldred, KC, the Solicitor General, Ms. Paula Llewellyn, KC, Director of Public Prosecutions, Ambassador Alison Stone Roof, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Lieutenant General Rocky Mead, the Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Ms. Arlene Williams, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Rear Admiral Antoinette Weems Gorman, the Chief of Defense Staff, His Worship, the Mayor Councillor Andrew Swaby, Head of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the Honorable Ian Forbes, Custos Rotalorum of St. Andrew, the Honorable Stedman Fuller, Custos Rotalorum of Kingston, the Honorable Garfield Green, Custos Rotalorum, and Professor Gordon Shirley, OJ, the Chairman of the Police Services Commission. A special good afternoon to all other senior members of the High Command, as well as heads of agencies and former commissioners of police. Ladies and gentlemen, in the passing of the baton in today's ceremony, we will welcome the dynamic from a young member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Constable Chantel Powell has been with the JCF for 2.5 years. She's a graduate of the University of Technology with a degree in forensics. She was excited to become a member of the Force for Good. She enrolled in the basic training program at the National Police College and is now stationed at the Shady Grove Police Station in rural St. Catherine. Constable Powell is a published author and poet.
I thought I'd open the court because we have evidence enough to prefer charges against all who thought I'd never make it. Permit me to stand, witness to the one who stood the test of time, tossed to and fro, beaten, battered, bruised, brined. I saw, I felt, I moved. I was there, I see, I feel. It's real, I'm here. I'm here having made it through the scrutiny. We tried and we erred, but here we are heralding the transformation as the means to our destiny. Here we are. The process processed me, pruning, pressuring precious products, poised and positioned in prominence, reminiscent of fruits incubated in fire. A soul called out of decadence, predicated on the promise for more. I am JCF, and I am JCF, and I know this one thing for sure. For every level of greatness to be unlocked, there is a season of obscurity to be endured, a season of obscurity to be endured. Obscurity. Night watchmen posted on the wall, Your Honor. Understaffed for the task without a mask, even as we unmask the face to the symptoms that have all of us coughing. Crime, Your Honor. The tumultuous time of living in the digital divide. As a deer panteth, we long to behold the light of progress, which we hope to portray technological prowess, Your Honor. Obscurity should have been a dead end, to which end our efforts would have been futile. But now, we know no one sows a seed in fertile soil without expectation that it will grow. Your Honor, obscurity is the soil our very own JCF was sown in. Obscurity, the soil our very own JCF was sown in. And now, can you feel the tendrils of the metamorphosis? Advancement through pain, and here we are again. We are JCF. We are JCF. We are JCF. And this one thing is true. The only limitation to your advancement is you. What you do or fail to do, what you believe or fail to believe, what will you do? I'll do justice, Your Honor. Justice is just this. Do right by the efforts of those on whose shoulders we stand, the pioneers, the engineers, the architects, the chemists who concocted the antidote for stagnation and strategically prioritized it into forced transformation. Major General Anthony Anderson, you have given us reason to stand, turning the wheels of modernization. You don't need to be a force driver to be a driving force for law enforcement and benchmarking policing. Stand. You beacon of the Caribbean, you once obscured seamen, so shine. Mighty lighthouse as you stand juxtaposed to a nation with hooks ready for your nose. Stand. It is a paradoxical truth. The more we know, the more we need to know. But if at each leg we commit to serve and grow, impact and go, we have already won. Victory or inevitable fate. Make no mistake as we welcome Dr. Kevin Blake. By now we know it's not just a change of guard, but a mission continuation. Stand. The ball is in your court. All rise. Stand. The ball is in your court. All rise. The served and those in service. One nation, one force, amalgamation, partnership, a force for good, a force to be reckoned with. Here we are. The baton is in your hand. I am one police, and I will stand. What will you do? God save our fully fortified force.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Constable Chantel Powell, for that riveting performance. Here we are, indicative of the transformation, the continuity, and the change. I do believe we have sorted out the challenge that we had before. At this time, I give you the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Jamaica is very privileged to have someone of the caliber and standing of Major General Anthony Anderson. I've seen General Anderson perform in many roles, in particular in his role as Chief of Defense Staff. He served as our first National Security Advisor and then took on the enormous role of Commissioner of Police. He is a very strategic person. Obviously, his military training, but his temperament and character is such. And he plans ahead. He's very thoughtful and very thorough. I've also seen him operate on the international platform where he is highly respected by his peers and colleagues. I believe that he has conducted himself well. He has served Jamaica well. He leaves the force better than he found it, with many institutional changes and developments. And he can be proud of what he has achieved. I believe most Jamaicans would feel that way. I want to wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And we hope, yes, we do hope that he may find it possible to continue to serve Jamaica. Jamaica.
Thank you very much. We certainly do agree with those sentiments from the Prime Minister. And now, let us hear from our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Jan.
Thank you, Chairman. After hearing our two Corporal Murray and Constable Powell, I'm sure I need not it's a true reflection of the multi-talented nature of the police force today. Very good. I think they deserve another hand. I will not seek to repeat that long protocol list, but allow me to recognize, of course, the outgoing Commissioner Major Anthony Anderson and our Commissioner designate, Dr. Kevin Blake, my colleague, Mr. Peter Bunting from the Senate. I don't think the diplomats mind if I collectively say the distinguished diplomats, Ambassador Perry, High Commissioner Tudoktovich, and of course, Mr. Shepherd representing High Ambassador from Japan. There are other many distinguished personnel here, and I should recognize my Chief of Staff, my Permanent Secretary. But it's a distinguished audience this afternoon, all. Good afternoon to you. It's my pleasure to be here this evening for a number of reasons. It's not often that you actually have a transitioning of command in the Commissioner's office. I think, in fact, this particular event is unusual. It's maybe the first time. But there are many firsts happening, and I'm pleased to be here because, one, the coming of this transition, the JCF has gone through many years of questions and answers and suggestions. But I was pleased that we came to a point where a commissioner was leaving, and the service commission didn't have to look beyond the force for a commissioner. Within the body and the officers of the police force, they were able to identify the commissioner. They, in fact, looked at all 4 deputy commissioners, which I think was an achievement in the development and evolution of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. That all 4 deputies could be interviewed fairly by the service commission and examined to look at the possibility of one of them ascending to the next level. If we look back at the history of the JCF, I think you had, on every occasion, the issue of transition was open to some level of controversy and question. And I think we had Major General Anthony was the third individual who took charge of the force and was not a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force in the last, 30 years thereabouts. And you had changes happening rapidly, one after the other, for different reasons within the force. So it is not only an unusual event to have this kind of smooth transition scheme, but one that said that signals the evolution of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, where officers can look forward to a career path because of the changing nature of the institution that has started, quite frankly, under the direction of the current outgoing Commissioner, Major Anthony Anderson. We came together. And I said elsewhere, he was a smart one. He came on the 18th of April, 2018. I came on the 18th of March, which was good to do. I came on the 1st of April. You understand, don't you, what that means? I wasn't sure. And I was, at that time, the term for both ministers and commissioners were not particularly elongated. In fact, I think one of my friends, when I knew my friend, one superintendent said, well, you know, Dr. Chang, he may last about 6 months. Well, we have gone 6 years, and the 6 best put challenging and interesting years working with Commissioner Anderson. And today we are here to mark a transition to a new commissioner. We pay respect and honor to our outgoing commissioner, who served not only with distinction, but a commitment to effect change and transformation as necessary in the Jamaica Constabulary force without chaos and without any serious challenges. And it was quite a challenge working with him. We had, in the middle of all of this, we had 3 fiscal years, and I use the term fiscal years, which is relevant to any change you're making in government. We had 3 fiscal years of COVID-19. And you both know what that means in terms of your budget and the challenge you face. It was the first pandemic for 100 years. Pandemic don't happen that regularly. In terms of economic impact, we lost some 12 to 14%, the numbers are still being studied, of our GDP. That means a major drop in your income and the entire economic process. It's like somebody on 10,000 week salary, and suddenly you knock out 1,200 of their income. You don't know how to balance the books after that. You're already on a very tight balance sheet, so to speak. But during this process, we're still able to not only maintain a level of investment in the police force, but begin the process of implementation, some of the changes to strengthen the police force, to expand the force, and to in fact take on the challenges faced by an evolving criminal network. The homicide rate are always one that has been daunting for the last 20 years in our country, but beside the direct homicide rate, the cause and root cause of crime are multiple and poses significant challenges to any police force. Indeed, that is a question and debate that continues, but it's fair to say today, as we come to this point, much has been done to not only increase the size and improve the efficiency and capability of the constabulary force. More has to be done. But beside the active and physical changes that we speak of elsewhere, in terms of infrastructure, technology, and increasing the size of the force, I think the character and the professionalism of the force has changed significantly. Wherever you talk to community members, there's a different tenor and tone when they speak of the police officer. I think the average Jamaican have said to me, just listening to a police report anywhere in the island, an accident, an unfortunate incident, another tragedy it may be, and even another homicide event, but when the police officers come to speak, they say, I hear a professional speaking to me, one I can take some pride in. That's a fact of change that has happened and reflects the movement of the force. So what we see is indeed a transformative element throughout the force, beside the physical and technological event in the very officers themselves. And this is part of that why I said we could have looked at all 4 deputy commissioners. The Service Commission has identified Dr. Kevin Blake, a young member of the force, as the person to ascend the commissioner's office at this point in time. It's not a reflection of the weakness of others, but maybe a reflection of how the Service Commission view the force as it is today. And Dr. Blake have the appropriate, not only background, which applies to everyone, but the personality and the qualification to continue the movement, the transformation of the force, because there's much more to be done. As a government, we accept that and understand that we still have a way to go, not only in terms of impacting the criminal networks and gangs that operate in our society, reducing the impact of the international, transnational criminal organizations, but within the force itself to continue a process that will only see our police force move from strength to strength and become indeed that powerful force for good that will restore public order, reduce criminal activity in our society. I have every confidence that Dr. Blake and the team around him will continue that process. That in fact we will get on top of the criminal actors that continue to terrorize section of the society. The talent reflected here today, while cultural, is a reflection of the deep talent of the police force, as the talent exhibited by Corporal Murray and Constable Powell, who is a less than 2-year service, reflects the quality of our intake. I've had the privilege of attending many graduations, and we have in fact now have recruited maybe some 6,000 officers since 2018, as we sought to expand and take the officer corps, the police force to another level in terms of sheer numbers to deal with a growing problem. And I think as of today, in fact, we should say we're at near what was the establishment. I don't want to go off when the establishment was set, but indeed, it's the first time for a very long time, and I think the commissioner can take, outgoing commissioner can take a lot of credit for that, that we are at 14,000 after the graduation on Wednesday, right, Commissioner? We have just made it. The establishment is in that 14,094, and I think you graduated just last week, 150, and we were at about 1,390 at the time of graduation. so we're indeed at 1,494. But again, young talent were displayed here today and showed the force. There have been promotion, there have been young officers being promoted, and I said with half the force now being under 10-year service, just about half, we need to have the additional officers, but it's also a reflection of, as I said, the quality and talent emerging. And I have every confidence that the team, those who are experienced and have been seeking to deal with this chronic epidemic in our society, as well the young bright minds who are coming on stream with the increased level of tools applied, especially in the technological and infrastructure, will combine those young talent with the traditional experience that is here, committed police officers to really take on the challenge and deal with the criminal activity out there. Extend my gratitude to the outgoing commissioner, Major General Anthony Anderson. We have tracked the route together. Wish you well as you move on. As I've said to sitting beside you, Justine, if Zimbat Calabash, I'll see you at some point in the future. But we understand, we expect your experience and your appreciation of the ecosystem will still be available for advice and consultation from time to time in the scene. But I want to particularly welcome Dr. Kevin Blake, who will now take the responsibility of guiding the Jamaica Constabulary Force. As I said, a powerful force for good, but security, the government have indicated without any apology, is one of the pillars for national development. We wish you well, and the government commits to give whatever support is required to the entire police force. This is how we view it. We'll continue to do so. We have said that elsewhere, and we'll speak to that kind of aspect at another point in other spaces, but today I just want to, I said, welcome you to this job. Welcome, join me on the road. I know how much time I'll give you, but it will be more than 6 months, don't worry. Right? Right? But look forward to working with you in ensuring and restoring a city and to bring about restoring a sense of good order, public safety to areas where it doesn't exist in our country, and to give the country, the citizens, fellow Jamaicans, to give them the assurance that we have a police force that is committed, professional, and will provide the capacity and capability to get the job done and ensure strong law enforcement across the land. Thank you all very much, and thank all the other men and women of the JCF here this evening who are here to witness the transition from Major and General Anthony Anderson to Dr. Kevin Blake. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister. I have noted the very due pride that has been on Dr. Blake's face since the beginning of the program, but I noticed that the pride beamed a little bit more when you referred to him as a young member of the Constabulary. I gather he hasn't been called young for a minute. And I couldn't help but notice the a tinge of anticipation in the face of Peter Bunting when you mentioned that you began your course with Anthony Anderson and you've walked the course with him. I'm not sure if he was looking that you were going in a particular direction to say something further. But I noticed that you just went on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the moment of transition. It is my profound honor to welcome on stage Major General Anthony Anderson to lead this segment of the proceedings. Sir?
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for that. Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security. Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice of Jamaica. Hey, we got our timing down perfect. Senator Peter Bunting, Excellencies, Permanent Secretaries, other government officials, sworn and unsworn members of the Constabulary Force, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all members of the media, and those joining us online, good afternoon, and thank you for making the time to be here. Now, if I had known that Chantel Powell, Constable Powell, who just gave that poem, was in the force, I guarantee you she would have written my speech. However, now that we do know that she's here, Kevin, you know what the reward for good work is. So, Chantel, that was a wonderful poem, I thought, and your talent abounds, and you're in the right place to expand that talent and all the others. It's interesting that you have a poet who's a constable with a degree in forensic science. But that's also indicative of a number of changes that have happened in the force. I had the pleasure of just doing our last passing out parade last week. They are trying to wring every bit out of me before I leave. So today was a full working day, but we'll probably say some more about that. So at that passing out parade, I had the opportunity to be the reviewing officer. So you go down the line of the ranks of the persons on parade. So I stopped, and just you stop along and talk to a couple of people. And I said to one young man, where are you from? He says, well, St. Catherine. So what do you want to do in the JCF? So he said, well, he wants to go to the CIB, he wants to be an investigator. So I said, why? He said, well, I have a degree in law. So then we went down a little further, and another one. So what have you done? Well, I have 14 CSECs and a degree in forensic chemistry. Now, when you're getting this raw material to build on, that is your start point and your base point for the future of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. I have no doubt that we will go from strength to strength to strength as an organization. We will be a premier police force, not just in Jamaica or the region, but I suspect globally. Because once you're starting with that kind of raw material, the up is the only way to go. We have created a framework where those people, those young people coming in, actually can be taken from what they know step by step through a process to become great police officers. Accredited training after accredited training, interspersed with on-the-job work, the hard work that is required of all police officers to deal with all of the challenges in the society. And quite often things that are not even really the business of police officers, but because we are there and because we can, we do. And so that is part of the things that why my 6-year journey here was a short journey. It felt over in a flash. And part of that is that I got to share the journey with such a fantastic crew of people, these officers here, the rank and file members of the JCF, who had all of this potential that just needed to be unlocked, all of this talent that just needed to be directed in a particular direction. And just to have the change that would cause them to believe in themselves and then to believe in this brand called the Jamaica Constabulary Force, that we could move from where people had not much good to say, and that it was a very challenged brand, to a point where we're winning brand awards. And that's not PR, that's hard work. It's diligent, hard work over time. And this is the team over here, led by the deputy commissioners, that got that done. Now, I have this little tendency to go off script now and again, but I'll try to make sure I cover the points. The transformation we've been doing has been one of people quality technology. And we have been saying this, it's been out there, we've been putting it out there. And I believe when we did our expo last year, it put that on show, that side of the JCF that our public don't really get a chance to see. And to interact with our officers outside of when they are doing law enforcement, but just when they are on show, showing what they do. And I believe that was a capstone of showing not just the potential of the JCF, but actual JCF. Nothing that we showed there was aspirational. Everything that we showed there, we actually use and are in place. And I can tell you, if we have an expo again, whether it's this year or next year, you'll have enough additional things so that the people who came twice to the last one will still see something new at the next one. And that is because this movement, this engine that was moving the organization forward, will only continue. One of the important tasks I believed I had was to ensure my successors. And as soon as you come, you have to start doing that. Otherwise, when you're ready to leave, people don't want you to leave. The truth of the matter is that, and perhaps what I count as one of the markers of success of our organization, is that when we carried the 4 names of our deputy commissioners to the Police Service Commission, they had work to do. We had 4 people who credibly can run the JCF. And so then they have to go through a process to decide which one of the 4 it's going to be. So they had options. And that is a good place to be when you're seeking to change command. And long may it be so. So I saw one of my jobs on coming here to make sure that my successor comes from within the JCF. JCF went on a transformation journey, not externally imposed, but a transformation journey using the people inside the organization and harnessing that talent and allowing people to believe that they could be their best selves. And being their best selves will propel the organization to new heights and to do things that they thought wasn't possible. So we have to and have had to make sure that people start to believe in themselves, believe in the organization, and believe in the possibility that they can take this force and influence this country and become that force for good, that engine behind the movement of change. But they had to believe. And I believe that they believe. Because it shows. It shows in the actions, it shows in the activities, it shows in the innovation, and it shows in the way our officers conduct themselves. Are we a perfect organization? Absolutely not. Do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. Have we achieved a lot? Yes. Is there a lot left to be achieved? Absolutely. And it is not me to continue to achieve it. It is to pass the baton to persons who are going to run a leg, and they too will pass the baton. What I've started, I can't finish. What Dr. Blake is going to do, he won't finish either. And he'll continue that process. And at the end of it, we aren't the ones who will be saying we're a force for good. There'll be nothing else that will come to mind once you say JCF. And not just in Jamaica. Already people reach out to us to try to understand what we've been doing. How is it that we came through COVID in a way where I believe we lost maybe 4 or 5 officers to COVID, in a force of, at the time, 12,000. Our partners, our policing partners across the world were extremely challenged because us, like them, have to go and face the COVID head on. We cannot hide from it. We have to be there with it. But it was an interesting thing that when the protocols came out that could protect people, it was already instituted here. We did not wait. Because it was clear what was required. And one of the things that was required was that those members who were vulnerable could be allowed to work from home. Novel concept at the time. Now it's par for the course. And of course, we're a big organization, very rooted in tradition. And there were those people who believed that if we do that, we're going to open the door and our people won't come to work. Everybody will want to work from home. What I said was that on a day of crisis, a day when our country needs us, our people will turn up. And they did. When you have faith in people, they will turn up. And they will respond accordingly. And I believe that that is part of the process that got us through it in the way we did, and that we took care of each other over that period. And so we went through it smoothly, almost as if we had practiced it before. We hadn't. We were making it up like everybody else as we went along. But when you give people the latitude to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, when you're not looking for a zero-defect organization where you kill innovation and don't grow leaders willing to be bold, then you have challenges. Then your organization is going to start to diminish. When you allow people to make mistakes, and we can learn from them and correct them, and move in the right direction, you can only grow your organization. You can only go from strength to strength. Because on the day when you're facing the thing that you couldn't predict, that there's no playbook for it, because it happens once every 100 years, the only thing you can rely on is that people are bold, that people will be innovative, and people will do what is necessary at that time. So we could go on, and I'm not going to, and my members here are very conscious of the fact. You see where I'm holding my hands? There's a thing, they say if I put my hand in my pocket, I'm gonna go on long. But so I won't. But I just want to, again, thank everyone here. And not just the people here, but the people online. Those people who are willing to help us, those people who are willing to give us the benefit of the doubt, and the space to grow the organization to become what we are now, that force for good. Many people here have assisted us. I'm grateful to you. And sometimes that assistance comes in ways that you don't even realize yourself when you're doing it. We have had an engagement with our public that is really good. It has changed the face of how we do business. There's a reason why, apart from all the technology and all the systems we put in place, we're an ISO 9001 certified police force. We're going to go to 21 sites by May. And we'll continue that process. It's not really about that. It's not really about that. It's about the people. It's always about the people. And how we extract, encourage, elevate rather than diminish them to do the great things that they can do. So thank you all for your support. And thank you, Justine and Catherine. Because sometimes it's the people close to you who feel it the most. Because as the force tries to wring everything out of you, the little you get, the what left. So as I transition from here, there may be a little more time and space, but usually, as you know, is what next mountain to climb. It has been a great time. And team, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all for your service and for your support. So now, I'm going to just do, I'm going to invite Dr. Kevin Blake, my successor, to come up. Okay. Right, thank you. Good, thank you. So there's really no precedence for what I'm going to do now. So maybe we're establishing a precedent. We'll see how it goes. And really it is in a very, you want to hold the mic? Yeah, thank you. I think it's important that since we're going to have this very seamless transition from one to the other, that I have a few things for DCP, soon to be CP, Dr. Kevin Blake. So here you have your rank an insignia that gives you the authority over the men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Exercise that authority with wisdom, with tenacity, but also with compassion. There's also the cane, which is also a symbol of the authority. Actually says Commissioner of Police on it. So I know that, you know, I know you wanted one, Owen, but but now, as I say, we're setting precedents now. So this is also a symbol of that authority. Wisdom, tenacity, and compassion. Good. So now I know this must feel like Christmas to you. So here is the pen. This is a fountain pen that I am passing to you. Just remember that there is a unique ink that the Commissioner of Police uses. But the point is that you can see when the Commissioner has signed anything, and that the Commissioner's signature can change lives. So be considered in what you do and what you sign.
Thank you, sir.
And finally, you hang this up in front because this is what we stand on. The rule of law, respect for all, and force for good. You hang this in your office, look at it every day, and I guarantee you, you'll be guided at the times when something comes up, as it inevitably does, that you were never trained for. Let it be your guide.
Thank you, sir. Today is indeed a good day to be a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. I really can get used to this. Yeah, it's an early Christmas. Thank you, Commissioner. Deputy Prime Minister, and our esteemed Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Senator Peter Bunting, Opposition Spokesman on National Security, distinguished guests drawn from across the Jamaican private and public sectors and the broad reach of civil society, members of the Diplomatic Corps and the international development community, Major General Anthony Anderson, my former boss, who just completed his last work day. Has not escaped yet. Right? His last work day at the office as Commissioner of Police, and as he said, will remain so until midnight tonight. So I have a few hours to enjoy. My colleagues of the High Command and the Police Area Command leadership, covering population center and every community across the length and breadth of Jamaica. To every serving member of our 14,000 plus force, comprising law enforcers sworn to serve, supported by dedicated teams of civilian staff, many of whom are tuned into this ceremony via the internet, like the many citizens, residents, and friends of Jamaica at home and across the world. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I speak to you today out of a profound sense of duty as a career policeman and as a Jamaican with a deep and abiding love for my country and for the people of my country. I rise to be the Commissioner of Police the Chief Constable for all Jamaicans, mindful of the weight of this office and what it requires of me. And my boss always reminds me of the weight that this office comes with. But ladies and gentlemen, I am prepared and I'm ready to bring the best of my intellect, my training, my personal discipline, and emotional intelligence to lead this Jamaica Constabulary force to be the next best edition of itself. I offer my heartfelt appreciation to you, Major General Anthony Anderson, our outgoing commissioner, for his highly capable leadership of the JCF over the past 6 years. As a global thought leader and a professional in local and international security matters, General Anderson has made an indelible mark on the JCF, catalyzing us into an era of unprecedented and irreversible modernization and transformation. Sir, your legacy is evident for all of us to see, and we laud your immense measure of your contribution. I will miss our intellectual banters, your personal swagger, and your impeccable sartorial dress, which always made you undeniable the center of the room. Deputy Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica deserves a police force that is responsive, a force that is modernized, and on par with the best law enforcement agencies in the world. Jamaica wants justice, and for many Jamaicans, justice often starts in an interaction on any given day with the police. That interaction, whether forceful or otherwise, must be predictably professional and respect for the law and for the individual. We know this as the JCF. For over 150 years, we have been the most tactile workforce in Jamaica. And in more recent years, we have made significant strides in improving how we interact and engage with the people whom we are here to serve and protect. Under my watch, unprecedented programs will be launched to win the hearts and minds of communities across Jamaica, to restore the JCF as the rightful legal guardians of Jamaica, providing trusted and reliable security services. We know that there are far more lawful and law-abiding people in Jamaica than the lawless and criminal among us. Make no mistake, we will isolate these criminals. We will disrupt criminal gangs. We will pursue, capture, and build airtight cases for the conviction of the producers, the facilitators, and the sympathizers of crimes, whose only interest and desire is to cause hurt, mayhem, and destruction. These people do not deserve the shelter and protection of law-abiding citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have one Jamaica, our beautiful island that rivals every country on earth as a leading tourism destination with the warmest and most hospitable people on the planet. The Jamaican people deserve to live peacefully and to enjoy a safe, secure society, free of fear, free of crime and violence, and we must protect our nation home against all threats, external and internal. And in so doing, the Jamaica Constabulary Force will not fail in its duty to serve and protect the lawful majority. And so, to the men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who face daily challenge of maintaining law and order in this country, I say to you, your hard work and sacrifices have not gone unnoticed. Notwithstanding the harsh and sometimes unfair criticism we face from some quarters, we are loved by the vast majority of the Jamaican people. We have never been as resourced as we are now as Jamaica's leading law enforcement organization, and my expectation, Minister, that we will continue to receive the resources required to do the most difficult job in Jamaica. As your commissioner, My colleagues, as your commissioner, rest assured, I have your back. As you labor around the clock on the front lines and in the back office support and administration, you can count on me to do everything in my power to ensure that you have the resources and training to execute the mission. And believe me when I say that, I have been well taught. My friends, the JCF is at a point of inflection. We are forging forward in a slipstream of transformation that we are confident will expand beyond us to attract every law-abiding Jamaican to join our transformation journey. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a modern and modernizing police force. Our tradecraft is exceptional. Our policing methods and technologies are contemporary, innovative, making us the most advanced and admired police force in the region. As we embrace innovation, as we adapt and develop, we are becoming a global standard. This complex social phenomenon of crime, security, and public safety is a tough business. In Jamaica and our global diaspora, our critics, many of whom are well-intentioned, think our job is a simple one, and that the JCF is asleep at the wheel. Nothing, ladies and gentlemen, is further from the truth. The data does not support the many misconceptions people hold as truth about the JCF, and that they invest so much time to repeat, rinse, and repeat. If we say we want to slay this crime monster that threatens to ruin the fabric of our society, then we must be prepared to move past the negativism and the useless rhetoric of self-defeat. We must be prepared to have a shared understanding and an accurate definition of the nature and scope of the problem we all want to solve. Make no mistake, the Jamaica Constabulary Force is the agency of the state with the primary responsibility for the reduction of crime and violence in Jamaica. The buck stops with us. Yet, we welcome sincere partnerships, and we respect that we all have a role to play, government, non-government, and individuals alike. We respect the values of transparency, truth, and accountability to the public as essential in the fight to defeat crime and make Jamaica safer. I say to the Jamaican press, we need your partnership to help us live up to these values in an environment where citizens can access information from multiple sources which do not meet the basics in journalistic practice and ethics. It is in the interest of the public that the mainstream media be a credible and reliable source of content that is not only timely, accurate, and verifiable, but which is also subject to careful and more thoughtful analysis that will equip Jamaicans to make better decisions about their personal safety and that of their families and communities. I'm looking forward to having conversations with the press to give deeper insights into the transformation to better inform your journalism and public advocacy. Crime is ever evolving, ladies and gentlemen, and our partnerships and collaborative efforts must be equal to the task. And so, we will continue to enhance our intelligence capabilities, leveraging data-driven insights, and employing cutting-edge tools to stay ahead of criminal activities. Community engagement will remain paramount to the planning and decision-making. In all our police divisions, a key priority is to maintain open lines of communication and cooperation with the people, to create safer neighborhoods, to build trust and encouraging our communities to proudly play their part in the shared responsibility of public safety. Ladies and gentlemen, transparency and accountability are the cornerstones of our approach. We will work tirelessly to maintain the highest standards of professionalism, ensuring that our actions are just, fair, and in the best interests of the communities we serve. Our attainment of ISO 9001 certification is a critical achievement. No other police force in the region has yet attained this important quality management benchmark. It is important to note that we are focused on the continuous expansion of the scope of our ISO quality management process to include not only more police locations, but also more police services to increase the professional quality experiences more Jamaicans will feel when they interact with their police force. As I close, let me say this to you and to those listening to me beyond the confines of this room. I bring to this job integrity of heart and skillful hands. I'm a servant of laws and Constitution of Jamaica. I will not shrink back in doing what is right for the people of Jamaica. And I have the utmost confidence in the men and women of the JCF who share my heart and determination. In these exciting and momentous times for the JCF, I know my men and women will acquit themselves well. I'm also looking forward to continue receiving the brightest and the best to join our numbers. The JCF is a great place to serve and to build a career. I'm here to partner with every stakeholder, chief of which are citizens of Jamaica, in the interest of the national security of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I am present and I'm on time. I'm here to serve and I'm here to lead. Thank you, and may God bless our beloved country.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. At this time, I am going to invite our force chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Gary Badu Fletcher, to come forward. I'm going to invite you back to the platform. Rev? I beg your pardon. Reverend Layla in his stead.
May I invite us to stand for the blessing? Almighty God, our provider, our friend, we approach you now at the culmination of this change of command ceremony to acknowledge that all good gifts come from you, and that all we are and have and do are yours. We bless you for your hand which continues to guide the affairs of our Jamaica Constabulary force. And we praise you for how you have kept us through the past seasons of our collective lives. We affirm with gratitude the sterling contribution of our immediate past Commissioner, Major General Anthony Anderson, and we pray your continued blessings on him and his family, even as we applaud his leadership over these past 6 years. We thank you now, Lord, for the spirit of cooperation and collaboration that has made this significant and momentous occasion possible. In a special way, we commit to you now and ask your divine blessing on your son, Kevin, whom we set apart today as Chief Constable of our force for good. We praise you for his life, his gifts, his diligence, his desires, which have all aligned as he has served this profession with distinction, and even now as he steps into this new role. As we commission our commissioner, O God, we pray you grant him wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in every way, as he takes up the mantle of leading the thousands of men and women across this island, many of whom are weary, demotivated, and distressed. May he lead with firm resolve, tempered by a humble spirit and a caring servant leader's heart. provide for him, O God, not just the academic and intellectual competencies and skills he will need, but gift him as well with a team that will hold his hand, uphold his decisions, and hold him in high esteem. We commit all the offices of our commissioner now to you, all the portfolios, branches, formations, and divisions over which he will exercise command, and alongside whom he will serve in the various trenches, offices, and other places and spaces. We pray for grace and strength for him, and by extension his family, as he carries out the unenviable task of leading in these times. And so, gracious God, as you have called Dr. Kevin Blake for such a time as this, hear our prayer, Lord. May you now bless him and keep him. Make your face to shine upon him and be gracious unto him. Lift up the light of your countenance upon him and gift him your peace today and every day. We pray all this and give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As you stand, I am going to invite us to recognize the playing of the national anthem of Jamaica. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, so at this time, while the baton has officially already been passed, we would like to take an opportunity for the official photos of the passing on of the baton, the handing over, the official handing over of the reins of leadership. And so I'm going to invite Commissioners Blake and Anderson to the rostrum. I'm going to also invite our media colleagues to appropriately position themselves. Yes. Superintendent Ellison. So I'm aware that because I beg your pardon? Sir, we don't tell you everything. Okay. So at this time, our colleagues in the media are going to position themselves appropriately. And you don't have to say anything, you can just pose, sir. And meanwhile, so as to not have our guests sitting and twiddling their thumbs, I'm going to invite them to turn their attention to the screens for a video produced by the Constabulary Communication Unit.
So I just want to thank Commissioner Anderson for his excellent leadership, for the confidence and support that he gave me during my tenure and the wider Legal Affairs Division, and for inspiring me to be a force for good.
It has been my pleasure executing your vision through the Legal Affairs Division as a senior legal officer. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I know who you will be, and that is a visionary. Bless you, Commissioner. Fair winds and following seas.
Congratulations, Major General Anderson, on your retirement from the Office of Commissioner of Police after spending 6 years with us. It was a pleasure. You created the environment for cohesiveness, for ideas to germinate, and good initiatives to flourish. I am always fascinated by your carefulness and grew to know that a final decision is not final until the next day. It was a lot of fun time, and I am sure there will be many more. All the best, Major General.
Major General Anthony Anderson, Commissioner of Police, your tenure in the organization have impacted significantly on the transformation of this organization. Your decision to focus on people, quality, and technology is a winning shot. Just by organizing and implementing the force development and logistics portfolio, that focus on that development and transformation, that was significant. The time allotted to me to give you kudos for the work that you have done would not really do just. So, sir, thank you for your service. You have done phenomenal. I salute you.
Commissioner, thank you for your profound leadership of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and your tremendous support all around. Even the blind and deaf can see and hear of the remarkable transformation of the JCF over these 6 short years. Your accomplishments will continue to blaze the trail of times, and our citizenry and country is witnessing a well-oiled, professionally driven organization.
There are so many things to reflect on the tenure of Major General Anthony Anderson from the communication CCU standpoint. First of all, I would just want to say thanks for allowing me the opportunity to lead this very wonderful department with such talented individuals. His attention to details. He pushed us beyond what we believed we could do. It's about quality. And I think one of the highlights of his tenure and our success as a communication department was to see the Jamaica Constabulary Force that was perceived a particular way going up in a nomination category among some of the giants in the communication and marketing industry. These are organizations with large budget to do marketing. We just have a small office with a few people who are dedicated, and they use their talent to ensure that when we went on the big stage, the Jamaica Constabulary Force was awarded the Chamber of Commerce Yellow Page Award for Best Marketing and Communication Department. We're not even a corporate company. We are the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Through his attention to detail, his firm leadership, his no-nonsense approach to quality, he would never accept anything that is substandard. There's a legacy in the CCU that will continue. And I know that you can leave being reassured and assured that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is at a good place, and you can leave knowing that with the incoming leadership, the work continues.
I want to take a moment in the interests of the men and women of the St. Catherine South Division to express our heartfelt gratitude for your exceptional leadership and dedication to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Your tenure has been marked by transformative change and a steadfast commitment to improving the organization's effectiveness and efficiency. Your belief in young officers and their ability to lead has been a breath of fresh air, and your willingness to give them opportunities to excel has not gone unnoticed. Your emphasis on effective communication, particularly through social media, has helped to bridge the gap between the JCF and the communities we serve. As you move on to new challenges, please know that your contributions will continue to inspire us to strive for excellence. On behalf of the men and women of the St. Catherine South Division, thank you for your leadership and guidance. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
So, thank you very much for allowing us to share a little bit of it. It is considerably long because so many people had something to say. Major General, we have packaged it for you. You can watch it at your leisure. If you have such a thing called leisure in your retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, we will repair to the lawns of the Office of the Commissioner of Police out front. We will continue, of course, to converse amongst ourselves and enjoy good fellowship one with another. So at this time, I thank you very much for attending, and I look forward to seeing you downstairs. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
For his support. We just want to wish him all the best in his future endeavors, and we welcome him.
The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He's the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. This is indeed a testament of Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson. So on behalf of the entire management team of the Central Division of Government,